Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Welcome to the Open Book. This is your host, Lakeisha Mabry. Thank you all so much for being patient. Um, I had an issue going on. I told Queen that forgive me. Y'all know this is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I'm blessing some of the teachers that I have the honor of supporting with some mini bundt cakes from LMJ. Look, I'm thinking about my other business. Mrs. Mabry's Unique Desserts. Y'all, I have multiple businesses. Oh my gosh. I had to think, baby, it's been a long day. Okay. But it's been some good stuff today. Just been a long day. So my cakes are kind of finishing, so I'll be able to pull them out and let them cool. So forgive me if I have to get off and be like, hold on one second, y'all. Let me take the cakes out the oven. Y'all know I like to be professional, but I am so happy that you were patient and you're here tonight. We are in for a treat. We have another special guest with us for our channel highlight. Kween Unyke with Humble Me Hype will be our special guest tonight. She's ready. She's in the chat. Before we get started, let's see who's here. Hey, Rebecca Boo. How are you tonight, sis? Hey, Dreamy Girl. Hey, sis. Thank you for joining. Let's see who else we have. Hey, Aries Black. Look, Aries, I could stay home for this live. Y'all, me and Aries Black, we have a running joke that we were bumping into each other the other day. Every time I was in the chat, she was in the chat, she was in the chat, I was in the chat. I said, well, hey, I need to carpool with you. We need to just ride together. I say my car running out of gas, okay? Kween Unyke is in the house under Humble Me Hype. So if y'all see her comments, that is Kween Unyke. Hi, Mama 3. How are you? Thank you for joining, sis. Let's see who else do we have. Keeping it real. Hi, sis. Thank you for joining. Oh my gosh. Yes, sis. We were in the streets, okay? Going back and forth, over here, over there. I was trying to go down another street, ran into a dead end. Hey, Critical. Hey, sis. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay. I appreciate you even for stopping in. It really means a lot. Enjoy your meeting. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I don't want to prolong the time because she is waiting backstage. We have the queen herself, Kween Unyke, coming to the stage from Humble Me Hype. Hey, Queen.
What's happening, hype stars, unique infusionists? I am Kween Unyke, brand supporters, open book lovers. It is the queen. I'm here, y'all, on open book page.
I am so excited. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to have you here, sis.
I'm so thankful to be here. It's always refreshing where you can be in these YouTube streets. And then y'all know I'll be over there in break room house taking my slippers off. But when I come to open book house, y'all, I get real comfortable over here. So it's definitely a pleasure to be here.
Look, you see, we have the chairs, you got the table, you know.
Absolutely. I get real comfortable over here.
Yeah, it is so funny. We were talking a few minutes ago, and she understood what I was going through, because like it's Teacher Appreciation Week everywhere. So I was like, whoo, okay. So we both doing some multitasking tonight. But y'all, we are still in for a treat. I have to say this publicly. I appreciate my sis. I was going through some things, and one day she called me out of the blue through IG. And when I tell you that phone call, that prayer, those words of encouragement meant a lot. And I have to publicly say that because there are people that God will put in your life that will genuinely care about you, that have your best interest at heart, that He has praying for you. And so, in that moment, she didn't just want to send a text or anything of that sort. She actually picked up the phone to call me. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for doing that, sis.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because y'all know God is the main messenger. So God don't do no back end work. We in the back end and the front end with it in real life for real. So of course, sis.
Right, right. And I thank her for being here too. Let's keep her lifted as well. She is a woman that is on a mission, and we're just praying, keeping her just lifted in prayer. Not we don't have to go into anything, but we want to continue to lift everyone up. But we're going to I thank you for your spirit of determination, sis, to want
Thank
to
you.
still operate in your assignment despite.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we'll definitely get into it. I am very again just pleased, humbled, honored to be here. Tonight would be Flex Zone Friday on the Humble Me Hype platform. So yeah, we here to flex on them just a little bit, throw a little bit of this crown around.
All right, okay. I love that. Throw the crown around.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so one way that I remember first coming to know of Queen Unyke was through various chats. And I hope you don't mind me sharing just a little bit of the things that you talked about in some of
Absolutely.
the
Go ahead. Go ahead on, sis. I'm at your house.
and so I remember we used to, this was probably months ago, probably like last year, closer to when a lot of this started. And I remember Queen's voice, and you always have had like this powerful voice. And so you were in the chats and you shared of, because y'all know we were a part of the LaTruth situation. I don't even like calling it saga and all of that, where we were following that story with the Hamptons. And so I remember Queen Unique shared that her sister went to school with and was in a class with Brianna when she was in high school. And so while sharing that story, y'all know throughout time after time after time, I like to pay attention to when people repeat stories because I want to see are there any inconsistencies or things of that sort. And every time Queen shared that story, her story never changed. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely
it was
not.
always the same. Always the same. Hold on, y'all, 1 second. Queen, if you want to kind of talk about that
Um,
some, you're welcome to do that.
Absolutely. One of the powerful things that you just said is that Queen's story never changed. And the reason why that is because Queen don't like to tell stories. Queen do real life. So no matter what anybody like thinks or says, there's not a receipt in the world. There's not a piece of paperwork in the world. There's not a video, audio clipping in the world that can take from you what you have experienced, what you have endured, what you have seen, or what you have heard in your life. So with that being said, of course that story is never going to change because back in the what we call back in the day now, yeah, because I just turned 40 and I'm loving it. But yeah, back in the day, technology, the world, real relationships weren't set up to a point where you recording people and trying to catch them in the lie. And back in the day, we wasn't doing that. Friendships were genuine. So when Brianna came into what I would say is our world. We were a very small community, quite like the one like I'm in now. We were a very small community who we love big, we love hard. We know everybody who's in that city. If we don't know you, we know your cousin. And when an outsider comes in and does something detrimental to not just what they may feel is that person, when you do something like that that affects a city, that's something that nobody can put on paper. That's something that nobody going back and say, oh, well, let me pull up a time where, oh, there was a camera involved or there was a picture involved. It just happens in real life. So with that being said, that's exactly what my Humble Me Hype panel is about. It's about you've been humble for so long. You've sat on information that you didn't even know, that you would need later on. Life just happens and you don't think that one day it's going to be something that you would need to, like, dang, or revisit and be like, dang, that really happened. Back in those times, nobody was thinking about, ooh, let's pull out a phone and record it, or ooh, let's get it on document. So when that situation happened, it was very detrimental to our community. And the fact that an outsider, and that's what she was then, that's what she will continue to be now. When an outsider comes in and just uproots and changes the organization, like when you're used to something, when somebody comes in and does something, you kind of looking at them sideways. So to see this story of the Hamptons play out later, and to see that this woman who is now 30, let's put her 36, because ain't nobody gonna take that for me. Let's put her in her late, 36s. When you have to look at that situation now, it's like, dang, she was that person then. The only thing that you have is your memory. You know that you had that particular situation happen in real life. That's not something somebody can take from you. That's not something you have to go back and dig 20 and 30 years and be like, ooh, do I have a picture? Ooh, because it's not worth it. My Humble Me Hype panel is simply about putting my life out there, putting my life experiences out there. And in the event that you are mentioned in those life experiences and in those things, the receipt in itself is me mentioning you, because I don't do no face, no case. I'm going to always put a name on it. I'm going to call you out directly. I'm going to say what part you played in the testimony and the journey that I'm moving. And I'm going to wait for you to respond, because that's the receipt. Because if there was no receipt, you wouldn't be speaking. So that's exactly what that situation was all about. I never once thought that I wanted to have a dog, bone carried or a fight in that story. It was
Right.
simply the matter of this person, like, I remember her from school. Like, she did a whole lot to a lot of people, and then she disappeared. And when she reappeared on this journey that I had coming to Georgia, it was simply the fact that, she doing the same behavior. So that's all that was about. I didn't never once want to drag her. I actually reached out to her on, some nice stuff like, you from the same city that we, grew up in. We went to school in the same cities. She didn't attend my original high school long. One thing I will clear open book is that it wasn't a class, it was a program.
Okay, a program. Thank you for
Yeah,
clearing.
it was a pregnancy program.
Okay.
My little sister was pregnant at a very young age, 14, had a baby at 15. And the only way that I knew of Brianna at that time was because I had seen her in passing. I saw her going to the classes, and like, just like everyday life now, like, you don't ever forget a face, you don't ever forget a name. And when you go back and do what little research, it's like, dang, is that the same girl? And then before she cleared her pages and all that good stuff, you go back and you be like, yeah, that is her. So
Wow.
it wasn't a class. It was definitely a pregnancy program. It's no secret. My little sister got, again, pregnant very young, and in this program, like I said, she didn't last long. It was maybe 2 months. And during that 2 month tenure, the only two instances that I had came across her was knowing that she was in a pregnancy program with my young sister, and the fact that she had put a sexual assault allegation or a sexual harassment. I'm not sure what terms they used back in the day, but it was something sexual related. She had put an allegation on someone that was very close to us, and that hurt our city. That hurt our city because we know of that young man's demeanor. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know that he was one of our star football players. We know that it was homecoming. And when they say, like, yo, one of your star football players can't play because of this, we like, yo, who is this? And then, like, she just disappeared and nothing ever comes from it. Like, it's like you took a piece of our life with you. So that fact, like, it's like I won't hold a grudge, but when it comes up, just as in this manner now, absolutely, that story is never going to change. Brianna Hampton did something very wrong to a young man and to a community, and she fled from it, and she never cleared it. And clearly, she's still doing the same thing years later.
Wow. And y'all, this live is for educational, entertainment purposes only. Things that we're saying are alleged, but as Queen said, she actually lived it.
I lived
Um,
it. And,
so
you know, open book, I'm on your panel, so I'm gonna play by all of your rules and YouTube rules, but it ain't no alleged when it comes to the queen. I'm gonna put it out there for real.
you said, and you always have said that, and I'm gonna tell you, the only reason I brought that up, well, I brought that story up was because that's how I came to know you was from
Absolutely.
that particular story, and not just story, but the events that you shared pertaining to that. And I wanted to ask you, how is your sister, the one that
Um,
was in that program?
she's actually very well. I will say that she has had a very my mom didn't play no games, so I can definitely start there. My mom ain't played no games, so when I say she's had a difficult life, it was probably from my mom because my mom was like, yo, you did this. You laid down, you decided you wanted to do this at this age. You're going to take care of this baby. You will not drop out of school. You will graduate. If college is on the line, like my mom pushed us to do everything. And that's where I get my strength from. That's why I don't let nobody take nothing from me because I came built with the strength where I don't care what I've been through in life. If I need to make it happen, if I say I'm going to make it happen, that's just that. So my mom did not hold any strings with her. It has definitely been difficult, and I don't know if she's in the building because I told her I would send her the link. But like even now, like sometimes we revisit. One of my nephews also had a set of twins at a very young age. And it's like she's reliving those things. But what she's also reliving is the values that our parents instilled in us. This is your life, own it and keep going. So it was definitely detrimental when she heard, her situation come up in the beginning of the saga. She was like, big sis, why put me out there like that? And I was like, yo, this needed to be said. Like, we ain't like her then. We was mad at her then, we mad at her now, so she took that very easily. But through that, she made some beautiful things. She's been in cosmetology literally all of her life. She's a beautiful instructor. She's teaching at I don't want to put the school's name out there, but she is teaching at a college university right now. She's owned a number of salons, and right now she's into holistic healing. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but she's into holistic healing, which has also helped me get through a lot of what I've been going through.
Hold on one second, Queen.
Absolutely. Hey JB, I see you down there in the chat, y'all. I'm on my phone tonight, y'all, and I'm still getting really used to this. Open Book has been amazing at assisting me with learning how to, transition from the computer, the laptop to my phone. So JB, I see you, love. Thank you so much for the love. Anybody else that's down there saying hello, hey y'all, what's happening? And y'all feel free. Like, I know y'all don't know me if you've been following the pages since I did start going public. If you had questions that you want to ask, y'all, I'm a very open person. So if you've had questions that you want to ask, feel free to ask them because you're probably gonna get all the answers you're looking for tonight.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back. My son was crying. Oh Lord. Okay, so thank you so much, y'all, for being patient. And I want to welcome some people that came in. Carolina Girl, thank you so much for joining, sis. Cancer 66, Renita, JB. Who else just came in? Mr. Troy. Thank y'all so much. Oh, and our brother Esco. Okay,
I'm about to say, Esco, what's happening?
hey. Thank you for joining, bro. We appreciate everyone for joining tonight. Those of you who just came in, Dreamy Girl has been sharing our sister Kween Unyke's channel, Humble Me Hype. She is our special guest tonight for our channel highlight. And we want to get deeper into who she is as a content creator and learn more about her channel. Okay, so then thinking about you were talking about the story on YouTube and things of that sort, but you had some things going on already before you even came and started talking about what had happened. So tell us more about who Queen Unique is.
Okay, absolutely. I love to do that a little bit, like what I call throw my crown around. So
Yes.
to be honest with y'all, Queen Unique is a very like how my name is. I'm a very humble person. I've had a lot of unique, divine connections in my life, but I've always been the one where I like to turn up a little bit. And the way I turn up is like when I'm around my people, when I'm around my scene, whatever setting that I'm in, sometimes, things don't always go, as you would want them. And that's what I love about Open's platform is because it's no secret that Open love God for real. Y'all not finna catch Open in no foolishness. Like she might ha ha and geek and kiki with us, but when it
Right.
comes to who she belongs to,
Ain't
Open's
perfect.
gonna stand firm on that. And I've been in a number of situations where, you know, my choosing, my life, my journey, my walk has been questioned. And I've been very open about it because somehow I just feel like I used to call myself I used to call myself God's favorite heathen. And my mom hated that. And she would say, "Why do you say that?" And I'd be like, "Because I love God, but I also like to turn up. Like I like to listen to certain type of music. I like to have my drinks." So that journey has like literally been with me on every aspect of my life. The one thing I'm gonna always be is God's favorite. I'm no longer that heathen because I will acknowledge that the only reason I can do all of the stuff I do, even when it ain't perfect, is because of Him. So,
Right.
with that being said, Queen Unique is that one where I've never wanted to be in front of the camera for a lot of years. Even before this platform got formed, I had another page, and it was a I am Queen Unique page. And when that page came out, I had 17.2 thousand followers.
Wow.
Those followers were attached to me, and I've come to realize this. And sometimes, I sit back and I look like, dang, how I'm gonna get that back. But I'm so thankful to where God has brought me because that 17,000 follower page, it was built with a lot of negativity. It was built with a lot of controversy. I'm connected to a lot of big names in not just the social media, but the nightlife scene. I'm connected to a lot of celebrities, and people saw me for that reason. So when I was in that light of 17,000 people, I was just like, boom, I can just be this person and I can do everything. But
Right.
in that, I got lost. And I
Wow.
and and what was so crazy, and I think I did mention it on like Chatty Cathy's panel one time. I got so lost in all of those people, all of those views, all of those likes, all of I got so lost in that people never really realized that wait, I'm over here doing all this for these celebrities, and I'm at this party and this party turning up, and I'm on everybody page for they showing me popping bottles, and I might have been twerking a couple of times, or I might have been, the people caught me doing everything else other than what God had called me to do.
Hmm.
So when that page got taken, it took me back. It humbled me. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, either you gonna be okay or you gonna have a problem with your page, being gone, and you just gonna be angry on these airwaves, or now you gonna really step up and show who Queen is. And when I had to rebuild the connections, they were just so more wholesome. They were so much more fulfilling because now I can say, I like to do all this party and stuff, and yeah, we can go out and do this, this, and this, but I also like to create. I'm also a designer. I'm also a crafter. I'm also a cheerleading coach. I've managed Absolutely. I'm a certified cheerleading coach. I've managed 5 cheerleading squads. I'm also a certified teacher. I teach pre-K through 8th grade, So there was so
Wow.
many
I
things,
never knew that.
absolutely. There were so many things that got lost. And I feel like when I got into it with the real Beehive, and I didn't even say I got into it with the real Beehive. It was something on Hollywood Unlocks page, like a couple of years ago. I've been in Georgia 3 years, so maybe about 2.5 years ago now. I made one comment, y'all, one comment on Hollywood Unlocks page, and I feel like it's because they know my connection to Offset. They know that we're related, so they were already looking like, who is this girl Offset keep dropping on his page? Who was this girl that Cardi B is sharing? Who is this family that's making all of this noise in Georgia? So I feel like when I made the one comment, and the only thing I said out of everything, people were praising the queen herself, Miss Beyonce. People were praising her. And the only thing I said was, I am not a fan. And y'all, when I said that, my page was down in less than 6 hours. Like, them people came for me.
Uh-uh. Are you serious?
Ah, them
What?
people came for me so bad, and I was fussing. Up until about the fourth hour, I was clapping back. I was in the comments going back and forth, back and forth. And then finally, Instagram was like, "Yo, your comment doesn't, meet community guidelines." And I was, dismissing that, and I was saying it anyway. Until one night, it was at 10. I'll never forget. It was at 10 p.m. one night. I went to clap back at somebody, and they said my comment couldn't be posted, and that's how I lost my page. And from
Wait a
there,
second.
girl,
Wait. Let me
from
get a
there,
clear understanding right quick before we continue. So you mean to tell me it was a YouTube channel, right?
that one was Instagram. My first page was Kween Unyke. I've now changed it to I am Kween Unyke because during this saga, the same thing happened. The Beehive came for me, and the only reason they came for me is because Queen Step had posted a video, and in one of her videos, they were able to capture like whatever clip she used. It had one of my statements, and then people came for me on the Beehive so bad, y'all. So I had to be re-verified, and I'm rebuilding my Kween Unyke page too on YouTube.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had 17 point K
17.2.
followers, point
Yeah.
two followers, and then you just made one comment on Hollywood Unlocked saying I'm not a fan,
And
and
they
then they
snatched it all away
completely
from me.
took your channel.
They snatched it all away. And from that moment, I told myself when I do decide to step back out here, I will never let anyone take, whether it be my opinion, and I don't give that often on the airwaves, but when I state my facts, I will never let anybody take them from me. You will have to come and address it because the only reason you would address it is because you were involved. And then we'll get to the root of how you're involved. And that's how you get to a receipt. And I'll go ahead and clear this up, y'all. Content creator, that's never going to be the queen. I'm in school for content creation, and seeing this Hampton story, since we're not going to call it the saga, it has made me completely rethink. I never want to be a content creator. I want to continue to be a social media personality because I'm not going to be dropping receipts. I am the receipt. Come holler at me. Come see what the amount is.
Wait, you're taking me too fast. Oh my goodness. I mean, sis just like laying it out. I'm like trying to keep up. Okay. So I'm still stuck. I'm still stuck in this YouTube. So then not only in IG, but then YouTube. Okay.
Only two.
So my thing is sometimes some things are meant to happen for a purpose. We were talking about this the
Absolutely.
other day that it doesn't necessarily mean that it's lost, but God is a restorer.
Yes, he
And for
is.
such a time as this, God can bring back some of the right people for what you're doing in this season. That may have been the people for that season, but now as you go through rebranding and building your channels again, God is going to send a different crew of people.
Yes,
Um,
he is.
and I
Quality
truly
over
feel that
quantity.
when you're saying that. Yes, right. And that's what Esco and I we were talking about that the other night and stuff. It's not always about numbers because you got to think about who's in those numbers, right? I
Absolutely.
would prefer a smaller, intimate setting of people who genuinely support, who want to be there. And what actually are you putting in front of them? Is it anything of substance? Do they feel encouraged? Do they feel like they've learned something while watching whatever you are putting out there? And
Absolutely.
so with that, and I believe Esco, he's in the chat. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he put it as in when we do it as a to God and do it the right way, those numbers will continue to increase because we're not focused on the numbers. We're focused on
Absolutely.
what we're supposed to be doing. And it makes
Absolutely.
a world of a difference. And people can feel, in my opinion, they can feel when you're genuine, they can feel when you're passionate about something. They feel that and they want to be a part of atmospheres where it's real.
Yes, yes, I can definitely agree because it's like when you go from the initial shock, of going from 17.2K to zero, there is an initial shock. I ain't even
It
gonna
is a
hold
shock. It was
y'all.
fun.
there, there is an
Girl, I
initial
ain't gonna
shock.
belittle that now.
But it's like when you've had the time to sit back and like take it all in and like what could I have done better? What was missing? I wasn't giving me. When I say that page was so drama filled, and I didn't even want to have drama with people. I'm just a clapback person because I don't like messy stuff. I had like back in the I still have zero tolerance now, but then it was just so easy to tick me off that
Wow.
like if I know that don't make sense, especially when it came to my family, like when people would speak on Offset or when people would speak on like different situations that I knew I had a direct connection to, I wasn't mature like them in the entertainment industry. I wasn't mature like them on these social and nightlife scenes. So every time somebody said something, I was like, I know you lying, and I would clap back. But it's like when I sit back and I used to I think about those things that I would put out into real airwaves. It's the same thing for me now. It's like now when I clap back, it has more substance. Now when I say, you know what, you're not gonna play with me. I'm gonna show you and I'm gonna go speak on it and I'm gonna leave it there. And I feel like people only come to where there's two reasons people come to see you, to your platform, to your house, to engage with you. One, they either nosy, or
Yep.
two, they really want to know what's going on. And I said this time around, that's why I did not want to push my platforms during the saga because I didn't want anything attached to me or
Mhm.
anything that could trace back to somebody else and they could use it to say, oh, well, why wasn't you doing this? I wanted it to be genuinely me. I wanted people to know when you come to the Queen, what I say is what I say. That's what I mean. That's my word. That's my bond. And I stand on it. I bring real life my family. I did my first testimonial sermon back in 2019.
Mhm.
And that was after Hurricane Florence, after my city was being rebuilt. We were still in transition for like homes, and our city took a while to be rebuilt. And I did my first testimonial sermon, and our city just, they just knew that we were going to talk about losing our home. They knew that we were going to talk about, just what was going on in the city. And I brought to them adultery. I brought to them affairs in the marriage. I brought to them disconnect. And they was like, yo, you was enduring all of this while you was going through that and you was still smiling like you ain't never say nothing. So it's like my testimony, the way I speak it now, this has been years. I've been unique infusions for 15 unique expressions for 15 years. That was my first business because I used to speak in a way where I created my own vocabulary. I'm a hashtagger. I hashtag those things that I want you to say. And when you follow the hashtag, you see my life story play out. And my pastor once said to me, he said, you know what? He said, it takes a healthy village. He said, because somebody like you who is willing to put the raw, unedited truth out there is somebody who's willing to fight. So I always go by raw. Raw means it's not edited. I'm always ready and willing. When I am presented with an opportunity, I'm going to jump in front of it and I'm going to take it.
Ooh, and we need that because it's times to speak up for justice for what's right.
Absolutely.
And we need people to be the voice that you could tell when you talk, you have power in your voice.
Absolutely.
That you believe it, that you are passionate, you feel that. And so, I mean, wow, I'm just sitting here like really trying to keep up because I'm like, sis, like you are on a roll. Like God is really, really doing some great things in your life. And I want to say congratulations. I heard you say that you were in school, right? What type?
Yes,
What
I am.
for
So
your degree
I
or
Yep, I am going in from and I'm not like a lot of what I've heard during these YouTube streets. I ain't trying to run out here and get my master's or none of that. I really just want to go ahead and secure my associate's degree in social media production and technology. I've been on the air long before the airwaves. And let me remind y'all again that I'm 40 and I'm loving it. so I
right?
have been so
You
I've been
gotta
on these
embrace it.
airwaves far longer. Like people are doing TikTok now. I was doing TikTok when it was Musically and when it was the other platform. So it's like I've been out here so long and have lived so many experiences. There's probably not many situations that I've heard that I haven't lived. And God is now building my platforms where he can say, okay, Queen, it's okay for you to talk about that. Okay. And what's crazy is that people call me Queen now, and I used to just be Unique. And my father gave me the name, how I deemed my son Big Mouthy. But my father gave me my name. He gave me my first nickname, which was Shorty 140. And then years later in life, he began to call me Queen Unique because I was so different from my sisters. I wasn't the one who was, having babies young. I wasn't the one who was like running around the neighborhood and I had boyfriends and I was doing all of these things. It like some people don't even really understand. Like at 40, I've been with my husband. This year will be, it's 2024. I've been with my husband 23 years. We've been married for 21 in July. And
Wow.
people are like, yo, you've been like together, like stuck with. Absolutely. People are like, you've been together, stuck with somebody for that long. And I'm like, yeah. And like the things that used to matter, like even at a young age, it mattered to me that all of my children had the same last name by the same man. And like it was important. Why? Because I had a sister who was 14 and all of her kids ain't got the same last name. Like I've seen so much in my life that I knew the things that I wanted to secure in life were those things that would keep family together. It would make sure that you knew if you rocking with Unique, and like how my dad would call me because I was so different. And he
Right.
said, he would call me, you are the queen of being different. And I said, well, I don't like that word. And he was like, what? I said, I don't like the word different because it used to me when I was younger, different from what, even like what we see now, like the BBLs are in, the lashes are in, the lace fronts are in, all of this stuff is in, and it's so in that it's not different anymore. So I wanted to be unique. My unique, spelled Unyke, is undeniably noticed, yet known exclusively. That means that there is no doubt that somebody is going to recognize you. There is no doubt that somebody is going to see you because you're human. You're an individual. You are a real life walking being. So somebody is going to see you. But until they get to know you, the real you, they don't really know you at all. So just be great, be a queen at being different, be a queen at being unique.
Ooh, girl, that's powerful.
And
I
I've been this
feel
way.
it.
I've been this way all my life, and I don't know how to explain it. So when I say I'm so thankful for platforms like the Open Book, where I can just come and be like, "Yeah, this is me. This is Queen. This is what
Yeah.
unique mean. This is my life." Like when I gave my first testimonial sermon about adultery, it was people in the city waiting on resources, and I'm up here talking to them about how you survive, an affair in your marriage and adultery, and through that, it's like the way we weathered and survived that storm was because we were going through adultery. We were going through affairs. We were going through disconnection in the household. So the only way to weather a storm is to deal with every aspect that comes with it. When a storm comes, it's not just a storm, there's thunder, there's lightning. For us, there was flooding that took away our homes. So there are a lot of aspects. And on Humble Me High platform, we just stand to get through all the layers.
Wow. Girl, oh my gosh. Y'all, this is Queen Unique, Humble Me Hype. She is in the house tonight. Welcome, Tiff. I see Break Room 411 is in
Yes, break
the
room. What's
house.
happening?
Thank you so much for joining. She's driving, but listening in. Now, I appreciate, and those of you who are in the chat that can, throughout this live, if something stands out to you or a catchy phrase, go ahead and hashtag it and we'll pop those up. So far, we
Absolutely. I
have,
love a good hashtag, y'all.
yes, hashtag embrace different, hashtag be unique. So if something stands out to you, hashtag it. Let's get those hashtags started. So
Absolutely.
a couple of things you said, girl. Ooh, you got, sis. You have a powerful, powerful story and testimony.
Thank
Okay,
you so much.
so like I really just hear like so many ways that God is going to just use you. Like, I'm just amazed too. And I'm glad that you brought this up because some people, even younger people, need to hear this. Everyone does not, and they don't have to feel some type of way if you don't have a desire to go to college, if you don't have a desire to get a master's degree or a doctorate. That's not the end all to be all to be successful. It's great if you do. I'm all about being a lifelong learner, but I love the fact that you said, "Hey, I want my associate." You are targeted. You know what you want. how you're going to get it, and so forth. You have a plan and a vision for your life and how you want to do this. So then I thought about how you said that your channels were taken, but you're rebuilding. Do you know that there are a lot of people who have gone through that, that are rebranding or are starting over or getting started, that could benefit from your advice? And people like to hear it from people who have been through it. Like they
Absolutely.
receive it better from people who have had the great success. Like, y'all, we don't even realize sometimes who we're in the room with. Like, she has had connections with celebrities. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Absolutely.
Like, you know, Beyonce. Who did you say? Offset was sharing. Who was sharing your?
Me and Offset are first cousins. Like my dad is literally his mom's niece.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Wait.
Offset is my first
What?
cousin. Like we grew up in the same house, same city. We actually because I'm originally from New York. So when I came from New York, our father dropped us off at our aunt house. And like years later he's Offset, but like
The
he
one
was
married
just
to Cardi B?
absolutely. 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 Like when my father moved us from New York, he dropped us up at Offset's house. My aunt used to raise us while my mother and father worked and learn how to, build their own in the South. Years later, we always knew he was going to be a star. I won't take that from him at all. He's kind of like me. He has just always been outside. He's always been like when we used to do family reunions. We got one coming up very soon. Like we would be the ones to make up a whole dance routine just to perform for our family. So he's always been that. And so like to see him years later living his actual dream, people have been like, well, yo, why you not living like him? And it's like, because we tried it. Like, yo, let's not forget we family for real. The family got their stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I never wanted to, like when I first was hiding my story and I would just support, and they would be like, oh, because if people find out that, Offset is related to you and you living like this, you can do A, B, and C. I would never put my family in the situation to damage them. Like it's not Offset's responsibility, his mother's responsibility. It's like none of my family's responsibility to take care of my family. And the one thing that was different again about me is that I never wanted that lifestyle. Like I just wanted to be the person to take the pictures at the family and make the family photo album. Like I never wanted to be the person in front of the camera. I've always liked to support. And the way that I would get my love shown back and the way I would support is because people would say, like, yo, Teresa is what they, called me, or Shorty 140 when I was younger. She always showing love. And then in turn, the people who would show love back is how I would get my recognition. So I never wanted to be in front of the camera. But it's like as these technologies and these times evolve, I've been called upon, or I like to say summoned. I've been called upon so often to be like, yo, Queen, we need you to speak. And when I moved to Georgia, well, I can't even say move to Georgia because Georgia was not in my top 5. I promise you, I was not coming here. But with Hurricane Florence losing my home and
Mm-hmm.
still not having, we were living in FEMA camps back in Wilmington, North Carolina. We call it Port City. We were living in FEMA camps, and we lived out of a Walmart parking lot for about 2 months. And it was like the most lit experience ever. Like people just posted up in Walmart. We cooking and eating on grills. FEMA was taking care of us. We were getting state funding. So like when people be hollering about money, like I ran through money a long time ago. My first piece of lump sum money came because I lost my home and FEMA dropped $40,000 on me.
Woo! Oh my gosh, I
So
almost
when
fell
people
out.
talk about money, it's like money is nothing. I've been there, I've done that. I've ran through that type of money. I'm on to the next bulk of money. So it's like I don't get wrapped up in those things. I get wrapped up in the experiences that life has given me. And when people address me like, "Yo, you related to Offset," now that people know that I was living out of a hotel at one point. I had been in a hotel before with the transition from Port City to Georgia. Again, it was not on my top 5, but me and my husband, I used to work for the school system in my city. And our city said, look, y'all got really good jobs. Our city is going to take a long time to be rebuilt. We hate to see y'all go, but the only way we're going to be able to keep you on your job during COVID is to send you to Georgia where there were still employment opportunities. And that's how we ended up here. And
Wow.
when you come, like we came with relocation money, we came with FEMA money, we came to Georgia with $20,000. But when you don't know nobody in Georgia other than your celebrity family and you don't want to put your problems off on them and they be like, yo, come home. Offset has been telling me for years, his mom, my cousins have been saying for years, like, just come home. And I'm like,
Mm.
yo, I don't want it like that. Like, that's not my life. Like, I want to see what it feels like to grind because I have been, kind of sheltered all my life. I ain't even gonna hold you. I was very spoiled. I did not like start cleaning up my own room, making my own bed, any of those things until I turned about 14 years old. Because the one thing that my mom would do, my mom sheltered us with materialistic stuff.
Mm.
And I was used to just having it my way. I was always a straight A student. So like when it came report card time, I already knew I was getting $50 every time my report card dropped. I was getting the latest earrings because I wasn't, and I don't like to call my sisters problem children, but I wasn't the one my mom had to worry about. And when I
Right.
finally had to move away, it put a nudge in that relationship. And being without her, especially like now, like I moved to another city before we even decided to come to Georgia. I moved to another city and we stayed there for 13 years. And I wanted to show my mom that, mommy, I'm going to do this. I've known what I wanted to do all my life. I knew what I wanted to do when I was 5. I've never wanted to change the world, but I wanted to be somebody that impacted it in a way that when you're going through things, your voice can be heard. So I just started to create stuff where people can be heard. And that's how my platforms begin to flourish.
Wow. And that's what I was gonna ask. First of all, Tiff is funny. Her hashtag is offset my cousin.
Tim, he my cousin too, for real.
Look, look. Okay, so like, since like you might not be about the money and all that stuff, but if Cardi B don't want to always sow a seed into the open book.
And and that was another reason I would hide them is because people would be like, well, yo, can you get them to do A, B, C, D? But behind the scenes, and the people like really did the research outside of entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
Offset has always been a contributor to whatever city he's in or living. Like he's always been a contributor. It didn't take 50 million posts of me saying, yo, Offset helped me get through Hurricane Florence. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like it didn't take that. Like he's always been my family has always been, I call them the Cephas squad. Like they've always been a tight-knit family. And we've never been a family like to just want to put our business out there. Like we just share our real life and then somehow it goes up, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And my thing is, and I agree with you. Like, you have to be careful, especially when you have celebrity family members and so forth, because people would do that. And so I respect you for that, and I also respect the fact that you wanted to have an experience of your own life without it being about what we have. And like I was
Absolutely.
saying earlier, people are more relatable to you when you're transparent, when you're genuine and have a story to tell, when they can see how God has brought you through. Um,
Absolutely.
I've learned how to be abased and to abound. Sometimes we have much, and sometimes we don't. But the constant
Absolutely.
or the common thread, and the common thread can actually be found on Amazon.com. That common thread is what the same at both ends of that. And so I love how you highlighted that. I also love how, so your Humble Me Hype, this is your YouTube channel. When you were saying that you wanted to create a place for people to have a voice. So,
Absolutely.
what type of programs or events do you have on your channel where people can utilize their voice?
Um,
Their-
I'm 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 steady building. One of my other pages, and you'll find that one on Instagram. It's called Unique Infusions. Unique Infusions used to be Unique Expressions, a family brand, 13 years ago. And when my husband and myself went through that disconnect, and maybe we'll do another panel, about that sometimes, or I'll begin to speak on it. But when me and my husband went through that disconnect in our marriage, it was like, okay, sit this down and tell people the raw truth about what adultery feels like, what affairs feel like. Tell people how I really just want to go and this open book panel, so I gotta kind of play it nicely. But well, I want to go blow somebody's house up, or I really want to do something to them in real life. I was known to really make things like that happen in real life. I had a bad anger problem. If you hurt me, you out of here. And I was a tough cookie. So now Unique Infusions, now 15 years later, is a place where that's where I go to do my partying. That's where I feel like when Jesus walked amongst us, he used to walk with those sinners. And that's where my term I'm God's favorite heathen comes from, because I was outside and people always knew like, yo, this girl, she's turning up, but sometimes you just have that part of you where people could tell like this is not really what she want to do. And I
Mhm.
was always that person. So I would always be outside turning up. Like when I throw parties, I don't know how anybody else do, but when I throw parties, events, I make sure everything is lined. Like I'm not asking you to pay at the door. I'm making sure that the bar is stacked. I'm making sure you eat. Only thing I'm asking you to do is show up.
Wow.
And that's how
Ooh.
my unique infusions would come. I wouldn't ask anybody for anything. And people would be like, yo, how is this one little person making all these moves? And now, years later, through unique infusions, I got to a point where it's like, especially coming to Georgia and like having the connections that I have and I've been robbed here in Georgia. I've been scammed here in Georgia. So it's like at 40 years old, do I want to keep living that lifestyle? Well, while I personally don't want to keep living that lifestyle, I'm not going to say that there's not, after I've done everything else God would have me to do, that I ain't going to want to go out and have a glass of wine or a pitcher, whatever the night calls for. Like I wanted to still have that space. So I wanted to have a space where I could still go into the nightclubs and the lounges and bring the products that I create. And I literally bring a mobile product accessory service to the nightclub scene. If you need jewelry and you ain't had no jewelry for the night, it's right there in the spot. If you need this type of product, ABCD, it's right there in the spot. And then when I got baptized February 5th of last year. So I've been baptized 2 years. And when I went down in that water and I came up, I said, okay, God, I am a new person. I am, I have a chance to, rewrite, relive the things that I wanted to do. Yet he still didn't pull me away. I was like, well,
Right.
God, I thought you was going to take away the nightclub. Well, God, I thought you was going to take away the drinks. And
Mm.
where he did not do that, he allowed me to infuse those with my humbleness and give the people who supported me in that manner. Now I can still sit on my PTA board proudly. Now I can still go to my town, my town city and my council meetings proudly and say, well, yeah, y'all might have seen, Kween Unyke turned up in the club on Friday, but Teresa Norfleet is here to handle business at this city council meeting. What's the next agenda? It gave me an opportunity to show all the, facets of myself.
Wow. Oh, girl. That is powerful. And shout out to Queen. She had blessed me with some gifts, jewelry, necklace, some of her products. And it has been such a blessing to have those beautiful items. I still have them tucked away over in my jewelry box because I consider them special. I'm scared to open up my necklace because I don't even know how to pick them up.
Aww.
But I have it right here in my box that sits on my desk, and I'm very appreciative. But I love the fact that you talk about we're in the world, but not of the world. But
Absolutely.
we have to know how to influence the atmosphere and who we're around and not let it get into us.
Absolutely.
And
My
so,
biggest thing is that you have to own it. My
yes.
pastor would also say, he had my pastor, I love my pastor back in Port City. He would also say, it's okay to go to the party. It's
Mhm.
okay. But as believers, as Christians, if we're gonna choose to be in this relationship with God, don't go to that party by yourself. You having a problem with drinking, like you are like the drinker. Drink until you know that, okay, boom, you sober enough to know that this should be my last drink. Take God with you when you go so that people will know that you are set apart. People know not to put, okay, like she might be tipsy, but she ain't drunk.
Right,
People would know the difference, so to speak.
right, right. And then what was the term you used when you said that you're multi phases or fast
Yeah,
multifaceted?
I'm very multifaceted. I've always worked in call center. God has literally always placed me in jobs where I'm on the other end of the line. I most recently walked myself out of a position, and like I did that outside of God's orders and His timing, but I knew
Mhm.
it was right for me because I get stubborn with God too. I'll be like, okay, God, I know that it's in your time, but you're taking a little longer. I need to get out of here before I catch a charge that I ain't want you to have to pay for. You know. So I walked myself out of a position where every time my phone rang, I had to be a different person. And I never knew what person I was supposed to be until it like popped up maybe 20 seconds before that call actually connected. And when I got into that position and it was a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week job, like I literally had no days off. I would still come home and run my platforms, but I was met with so many different life experiences. I've dealt with death. My name is on a number of death certificates throughout the world now because of that job. I've been the first point of contact on murder scenes, homicide scenes. It's like that job took me through so much, and I was like, okay, God, now this is a bit much. So I had to learn where And the only reason I walked out of that job is because one man, he was contemplating committing suicide, and I will say I don't know till this day if he ever did, but I was the fourth person that he had spoken to in 4 hours, and he said if I get another person or you have to transfer me to another person, I might not make it. He said I just need for you to pray with me, and I was like, boom, God, that's my spot, so I jumped on and I prayed with him, and my supervisor, my immediate supervision, walked to my desk and one thing I can say, they did allow me to finish that prayer. But when I got off, I was reprimanded. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand why I was reprimanded. And she said to me, you don't know what you could have said to that man in that prayer that would have made him, kill himself or make a decision to, choose. And I said, well, hell, like I had to get real with it. I said, well, clearly somebody in 4 hours didn't know what to say for him to get to me. So the fact that he asked me to pray, if the only thing he wanted me to do was pray before he made a decision, that was between him and God. And my assignment, he asked me to do was pray. And I knew from then that that job was not a job I could work. I've never seen myself working for anybody like committed, fully committed, like retiring at, oh, you've been with my company. I've never seen that from my life. So the fact that I keep trying to put on these faces for people and God keeps snatching me right there, he give me a good, year or two in there, get some great benefits, 401k, but he snatches me back out of there when I get too comfortable with seeing that money come every 2 weeks because that's not the calling on my life. So
Right.
this time I took a position, and I can't even say I took a position. I was offered a position where it was salary. I can be who I am. I'm in business development. I'm in sales. So now I can do the same thing I do in my passion life with Humble Me Hype and Unique Infusions and being the artist, the entertainer, the creator that I am. And I can sell you a product versus having to save your life or think I'm supposed to make a difference. I don't move to make a difference in nobody's life. That's why I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to be a content creator. I want to be the social media personality that God gave me because every time I step foot outside or on these airways, I want you to know you get in real life. And that's how I became
Ooh.
multifaceted. I don't need a position or a title to tell me what I'm capable of. It's just never been me. I've never wanted to work a job. I want to be a real housewife of Atlanta, but they won't give it to me, girl. I'm trying to get over there, but they don't understand.
Child, I used to tell my mama, because see, I think from a very young age, I knew I was a king's kid. And I used to tell my mama,
Absolutely.
baby, we weren't rich. Okay, so like how you said you grew up and you had the money and things like that. We did not. My uncles and my grandfather had money, so as far as like the stories, so they would help us out when needed. And my mom worked hard, my stepfather. But with that, I was thinking like, what I was about to. Oh, I used to always say, you know what, Mama? I'm supposed to be rich, and I think that I was switched at birth. I was like, I need to find my real family. She said, well, when you find them, lend them to me too, because I want to go with you.
Not you switch that birth open.
I used to think all the time I was squished at birth and I was supposed to be rich. Girl, it was a long time before I quit talking about that. My mama would laugh talking about, well, I sure hope you find but it's in us, what God has called us even from a young age. He has placed things in us so that when we get there, it to me, I think it'll be a sense of, wow, this has been there all along. And so you have so many testimonies. I have to give a shout out right quick to my friend Katrina. She was one of our guest panelists on our singles panel. One of my high school fellow trumpet players
Hey
is in
now.
the house. Okay, Katrina, she's under Miss Hurricane.
Okay, hey Miss Hurricane.
I'm so happy to have you, sis, in here. And hey, Truth in the City, my other sis just joined. Thank you for joining, ladies. But yes, it's like that is like powerful, a very powerful testimony. And I'm just amazed. Like I'm sitting here smiling because uh, you have so many great things going on in your life and that are
Absolutely.
about to happen. Like having
Absolutely.
rebuild and all of that. Hold on, let me tell my son to turn this down. Having to rebuild, God is showing that He is faithful. Like when I hear
Yes,
you
it is.
talk, I mean, it just shows God's faithfulness and your genuineness and hidden hot topics that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but you're not
Absolutely.
afraid to talk about it. And I
I
love,
am not.
yeah, you definitely not. When you talked about going from, okay, I love to have fun, but at the same time, I go to these meetings as well where you're
Absolutely.
utilizing your voice. So it's like we don't have to just operate in one thing, but God has made us I love that word too, multifaceted. And what were you saying earlier about throwing your crown around? I love
Yeah,
that word.
absolutely. It would be typically it would be Flex Zone Friday on my
Okay.
platform, and that's kind of where we throw our crown around. Like, what are you really doing in the city? And when people thought that, and I hate going back to this Hampton story, but it takes me back to where I was asked by a number of the bees, even some of the supporters, like, well, what makes you the queen? Like, what makes it so important? What you have to say when you able to say, look, I lived this experience. So I might not tell you completely how to get through it, but I can show you the ways that I did it. I will take y'all to a place, and we'll get into it later, to where there was a disconnect in my marriage, and people was like, you stayed," and I see so many people like, "Oh, you get one time with me, you get da 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 da," and God would not allow me to leave because my one of my missions then was to not see the wrong in what he did, but
Mhm.
what was he going through? What could I help my husband with that would get our marriage to a point where I could understand God, and then maybe if I can understand God, we can work on this thing, and then God would still be given the glory. Because when I say that, I have lived so many things that if it were not from the man above, I would not be here, y'all. I would be in jail somewhere. There was an area in my life where I was just like, you know what? My sister's getting all the attention, everybody else getting all the attention, and I would act out. And people would have no idea that I was the one who orchestrated a lot of stuff. So where I have done a lot in life, I was also the person who hurt a lot of people. And my husband is one of them. I purposely hurt him for a number of years because I couldn't understand why he hurt me. So I'm gonna hurt you back. And God was able to get us to a place where we say, okay, this is what happened. This is where we got it on track at. And from there, like, our marriage has flourished. I won't say that we don't have problems, but not a lot of people, especially at 40 years old, can say I have 23 years in this game or in this generation with the same person. All of our children have the same last names. There may have been some maybe outside babies that we had to take care of, and we come back and you want to put a name on. That's why I don't like to do mainstream, because so many, you could talk about mainstream all day, but if you can't talk about what's happening in your real life and showing the next person how to get through a situation that they may be like you afraid to speak of, you're not doing your job. If you cannot bring your real life, say, look, I'm going through an affair in my marriage right now, and it's ugly, but I'm gonna still get up here and post every day with my attitude with my husband. And there would be times I would be on live and he would walk by and roll his eyes, and I would roll my eyes right back. Everybody would laugh. And it was those things that people saw out of our real life that helped them get through. So I'm just always open to sharing my real life. And I might not have 17,000 followers because of that, but this time you get me. If you over here, you getting me. You getting my family. So when you come to play, we come to make the rules to play. We
Right.
might adjust them, but this is real life. You're not gonna play with our real life. We either gonna have a discussion about it, we're gonna see how we gonna work through, or you can go on back over there because we ain't got time because we've been there, done that.
Ooh, and that's what we were talking about earlier this morning too. Marriage is a whole ministry,
Yes,
and
it
it
is.
takes work. Okay, you're gonna be tested in every area. Okay, so we all go to the beautiful wedding. We can choose our wedding dresses. Have our
Mhm.
bridesmaids, our delicious cake, which I didn't get, but a bite.
I
Because
ain't have none of that, y'all.
I know girl. I'm telling you, that's why for our 10-year, we really want to do something where we can get like real food and a wedding cake, a little miniature one, because we did not get food even. We had to eat at Taco Cabana on our wedding nights. Okay, so that's a
Period.
whole story. That's
That
a
sounds like a
whole
good time to me.
girl to the hotel. Okay. Baby, I was like done. So my husband say, God, we're gonna do it up, for this 10 years. Now I don't know how much we're planning on planning in a couple of months, but we'll see how that goes. But going back to that marriage, All of that is wonderful. We all look forward to the wedding and things of that sort. But marriage is the real work in ministry,
Yes, it is.
especially to have longevity. And you said you all were married, what, 21 years?
Absolutely. We will be married 21 years in July and 23 together in October.
Wow. Oh, that's a blessing, sis. How many children do you have?
We have four physically walking and living this life with us, and then we have a daughter in heaven. She is twin A of our 17-year-old boy, who is our artist in the family.
Wow. So you're an angel mom too. I
Yes,
am too,
I
girl.
am.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yes, I
amazing.
am.
Our baby's
Yeah.
resting in
And
Jesus'
and
glory.
when you speak on Angel Mom like that, I watched your live when the lady, I can't remember her name, when she came up there and you did that live about that. I was so moved, and it took me to a place like I had put trigger warning in the comments, and then I had to leave for a
Right.
minute because my children, and I will say this throughout this Hampton story, my children have gotten like really inclined to my YouTube because they know if mommy is operating in an area, they know I'm serious about it. So they have really caught a lot of your lives with me, a lot of break rooms lives with me. And my son, he wasn't even paying attention
Mm,
until he heard the angel mom and like talking about the babies. And both of us cried on that live, and that was my trigger warning. And I went to him and I said, son, I said, what's triggering you about this live? And he said,
mhm,
mom, he said, I never really realized that it was anybody outside of me or us dealing with that, and it wasn't meant like for us to be selfish, but it was like we didn't, for a long time, we didn't even celebrate her first birthday until they turned 14, and we finally did a balloon release.
mhm.
um every year our son would just go into his room, he would have birthday cake, we would try to do parties, and he just never felt it. And then at 14 years old he broke down crying, and we said, what's wrong? And he said, mom, he said, I have never liked to celebrate my birthday. He said, because I didn't feel like it was my own. And at
Mm,
14 is when he became a young man, and he said, I want to celebrate my sister. So we didn't even start celebrating her until about they're 17 now, 3-4 years ago is when we did our first balloon release. And
wow.
your live open was just even though it's been so long, it was still so new because for us, like 13, 14, when we finally start to celebrate her and we were okay, with speaking on her, and we have, the tattoos, and we keep her pictures, and the pictures of her ultrasound
Mhm.
here up in our home, and what we could have recreated, because even then when Hurricane Florence came, we didn't think it was going to be a big thing, and it did. It took our house, and we lost her again. And for us, that was just like crushing, like to lose your baby a second time, because you
Right.
don't think to pack up her memorial. You don't think to pack up, their things, because you think you're coming back to your home. And
Mm,
when he saw that live, it just took us to a place where, okay, we thought we were healed, and it just shows us that we're constantly still healing daily. So our
yes.
children, yeah, we have four here with us and one in heaven. And I can say it's definitely been a journey. And being an angel mom, some people like to call it a rainbow mom. Being
Rainbow.
being that mom, when I watched your live and I saw so many people in the comments, I was like, okay, even my son was like, okay, there's somewhere we can go. Because you
Right.
don't know where to go in your city, especially when you're new to the city. It's like, where do you go to find these people who feel like this? And where do you go? So we were just very thankful for that live that you did open. It was beautiful.
Praise God. And like that live even blessed me all over again because that was actually done, I think, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, in honor. And like we were feeling the same way. It wasn't until I opened up about what had happened is when others started opening up. I didn't even realize that people around me had gone through that until I shared what had happened to my baby. And so I always want to create and talk about. And that was one reason that I wrote about that in chapter 1, because I don't even know why I started with that as a chapter. It was one of the hardest chapters to write. But with that, it's like grief hits us in waves. And so
Yeah.
it's good that y'all got the opportunity to experience that, because I believe that it puts them like, it honors their memory, where we feel feel like they're not gone per se from our hearts and their spirit. We just pray one day to be able to see them again. And so that really touched my heart. I was about to tear up again, girl. I'm like, don't stop. Gotta get it together. Gotta get it together. Welcome to the chat, Miss Bree, our sis Lolo, TC Chronicles. I don't know if she's still in here. Thank y'all so much for joining tonight. I'm
Yes,
so
thank you.
happy that
Thank
y'all are
you.
here as Kween Unyke takes over this show. Because
Yeah, I'm just sharing the panel. I'm so thankful to be here. It's definitely been a journey to stay and like to be able to share my real life. It's like people so into mainstream, like nobody want to hear what you got saying, what you got to say, what you got going on. So the love and the support that I get from my YouTube family, I'm just sharing your panel, girl. God brought me here to run my mouth. I don't mind telling my business, honey.
me too. I'm the same way. I mean, like this point, I'm like, am I telling y'all too much?
Absolutely, I don't mind telling my business because
Oh
the
my,
only way to the only way to go through it is to get through it. So that's where
yes.
I am with it.
Right. And welcome also Royal D is in the house. I just saw you. Hey sis, thank you for joining. Miss
Hey, Royal D, I caught your Instagram. I think you said it was your first Instagram, Royal D, but you were doing a great job, and then it cut off. I don't know what happened, but you do have a new Instagram supporter, Royal D. So shout out to you.
Yay, I am too. Oh my gosh. I didn't see it live on Instagram. I must have missed that one.
Yeah, it was only for a couple of seconds, and then she dropped off, and I was like, shoot, dang it.
Oh, maybe she was testing it. Okay, got you. Miss Bree, hugs to you too. Because she's a fellow angel mom as well. Let's see here. It was another comment, but I skipped it. Okay, I really don't like to talk about it, but I guess I don't know how to deal with the yes. And there are groups. Miss Bree, I had shared one of the groups. They're a Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, called the Mend MEND support group, and they have online support. And I'm going to tell you, in
Okay.
that group, um, I was once one that needed help. They have different posts, and you can comment. I was one that needed the help and someone to pour into me. So now I go in there every once in a while and just encourage women to keep believing God, to keep trusting God, that God will comfort them, because some of them are still believing God for a baby, and things of that sort. And so, but that's let me type the initials. It's a Facebook group for anyone who's watching or may see the replay. They are on Facebook. Let me put that. If you are wanting some type of support group, but we're always here too as well. Hi, I am that somebody. Thank you for joining, sis. Okay, I understand. Yeah, so it's MEND. So sis, our last question, do you have like special times or days that you all meet for your channel events?
I honestly, I had laid out, and this when I say God works in so many mysterious ways. When I did my live show, I had laid out like what my layout would be. It would be Make It Matter Monday, Two Turn Tuesdays, Not So Way Back Wednesdays, Thought About You Thursdays, Flex Zone Fridays, Sip With Me Saturdays, and then of course Settle Down Sundays. And I had that all laid out. And I went and I did this whole event, y'all. And when I say, I'm gonna tell you something else about people. People will say and do a whole lot of stuff so they can feel like they involved in it. You can plan it out, and it just, it will not turn out just like, the way you plan it out. They say if you want to make God laugh, tell him what you have planned. Because my live show day was just that. It was a hectic, chaotic, beautiful mess inside. And if it were not for open and break room, I swear I don't know if we would have ever got our live up and running the way we needed to. An hour behind,
Oh
mind you.
God,
An
girl, that
hour
was
behind, but the people who needed to be there still showed up. So when I laid that out, I went ahead and I did Make It Matter Monday, because I had the week before went and seen my mom. And for those of you who didn't catch that live, I've been hiding my mom and my dad's like current health situations because I still honestly am. I'm still, I can't even say healing through it because they're still here on earth. But my mom is in a nursing home, and she's now been placed on hospice. And she was placed on hospice a week after my birthday. My birthday is March 9th. My mom was placed on hospice March 23rd of last year. So I've been hiding my mom, her pictures, what she's going through, because I did not know how to tell people to get through that. I did not know how to say that I was okay speaking with it, because I'm still very broken in those areas. And a lot of it comes from, family stuff that's going on and you can't really do anything about it. Certain things like that, power of attorneys. And you know how all the paperwork just gets confusing. But the one thing that I wasn't able to do was speak. So when I finally say, you know what, on Make It Matter Monday, I'm just going to tell people about my mom. People have questions. I have at least some answers. So you can kind of find us any day of the week. Usually, if I'm not jumping on, I'm literally in the comments showing love to other panels. But any day of the week where I just feel led, because one thing I don't like to do is put out, and I don't like to call it negativity, but if I'm going through a spirit that I know, it's kind of like when you're the negative Nancy in the room, that energy will roll off on anybody else. I don't want to be that type of platform that brings that to the airwaves. So I don't want people to see me crying every time I get on live and talk about my mom. And if they only see me crying, the only thing that they'll know how to do is cry. So it's like I kind of live those situations out, and then I say, okay, you got that part through. Now you can tell somebody at least how to take the first step. So we're kind of up, down, y'all. Like, I'm always going to be on the airwaves supporting the beautiful platforms that I've been blessed to have, this journey with. But yeah, you can just kind of catch us. Sometimes I just upload videos. Sometimes I get on and I pop my stuff. Like, it's my life. So it's like I can't put it to a schedule. Whatever I'm living that day, I'm always open and willing to share it with y'all. So I'm out here. If you catch me, you catch me. Just know I'm outside with y'all.
I love it. And I agree with Shelly Shell in the chat. She said you did great, Queen, because I did catch some of that live. And my thing is it shows your humanity. It
Absolutely.
shows that you're not afraid to be you. And your testimony was so powerful. Like, it was a blessing. It was so encouraging and inspiring. And so if it comes with tears, it comes with tears.
Yeah.
I've been there too, even with my own mom, of just the different health challenges that she went through, especially towards the latter part of her life. And anyone that kind of has not gone through that, it's probably hard for you to understand, but losing her was like a double-edged sword. On one hand, I felt like she was ready. I did not want her to go through any more pain. On the other hand, I was losing my best friend and my mom, and
Absolutely.
life would forever change for me here on earth. And so those are, hard. It's a hard pill to swallow, but
Absolutely.
God, okay? I
But
always have to say that. In every situation that we go through, God is a comforter.
yes,
And
indeed.
I know right now, as a matter of fact, I was about to close in a little bit and say, I was going to take a break over the next few days from channel highlights, and we'll pick back up next week. I know some have lost mothers. So let's keep everyone who has lost their mom in prayers and comfort. The enemy almost hit me with it today because I was driving, and some great things have been happening this week, and it's been a good distraction. And so,
Absolutely.
some reason something happened. Um, I don't know if I passed a store or somebody said something about Mother's Day, and I said, oh, it's Mother's Day weekend. And I was about
Yeah.
to immediately get sad. I think I had saw a post or something, and I said, uh-oh, wait, and I had to kind of
Mm-hmm.
get it together because that wave can just hit you. And so we're lifting everyone up that's on here that will watch the replay. I
Yeah.
want to probably do some type of live for people who just want to come on and that have lost mothers. Just come on, we listen to some music. I want to actually read some journal entries from my mom this Saturday, words from my mother. And so she left tons of journals with encouraging words. And I believe a lot of those words were directly for me. And I believe those words will impact some other people's lives. And so I want to read some of her journal entries this Saturday. But yes, Esco, I totally agree. It's a hard pill to swallow. All we can do during those times is lean and trust on God. Um,
Absolutely.
yes, thank you, Brittany. Thank y'all so much. We have put Shelly Shell just put Humble Me Hype's channel in the chat. If you have not subscribed, if you could go ahead and subscribe to her channel. As y'all have heard tonight, this sister is filled with power. I mean, testimony after testimony, faithfulness. She is genuine. She has a heart for people. I love to see people who have a heart for others and that have been through things and can relate to them. As we all know, she also has the other side where she has been exposed and around celebrities and know a lot about social media and going to school. And God is just doing a great work in her life. And so we want to be a support to her as she continues to grow her channel. And I believe when God restores, God goes above and beyond. He does all things well. He doesn't just give us back what we lost, but he gives back and then he adds some. Okay. He
Yes,
adds
he
the tip
does.
to it. Okay. It's not just, oh, you know what? You lost $1,000 out on the road somewhere. Oh, I'm gonna give you $1,000 back. No, God may say I'm gonna give you that $1,000 back. Plus, I'm gonna add in someone to give you a free car, a car that's paid off. You know.
Absolutely. Open before we close while you're speaking on that. Two more
Yeah.
things just because they hit me when you said that. While you were saying that, my son has this saying. He said, "Mommy," he said, "God ain't much of a divider, but he do know how to multiply." So
Come on.
that's one of the things that we live by in our house. God ain't much of a divider because he ain't gonna tear you apart and set you apart for no reason. But when he do, he is gonna multiply your life. And when it comes to, like you said, that free car, y'all, if y'all did not catch my testimony, that part of it on Make It Matter Monday, when I say God is able, y'all, I was in that hotel. When I say these last 2 years, not knowing, being scammed, wasting money on people, wasting money on application fees, and I like with my crafting business, I think I get it from my mama, but the crafting that I'm into it's a little pricey. It's a little expensive. I'm into epoxy resin, and I like to create things out of epoxy resin. So I was pouring a lot of my money into the product, and I was losing it in the hotel. Y'all, this time around, I ain't had to pay not one dime to go
Wow.
home. I ain't paid not one application fee. When I say these people literally had us go look at a home and handed us keys to move in. So it's just another testimony to my humble me hypeness. I'm going to go hard for God. Like, I'm humble, but I'm
Yes.
going to be lit about God, because when I say I wasted so much money and the only thing I had to do was sit down and trust him, and somebody handed our family keys to a home that we ain't had to put out a deposit, an application fee, a security deposit, a first, we ain't had to do nothing. And then not only did he bless us with the home, the day before my live show, just a couple of weekends ago, we got a phone call that were on the way to fully furnish our home, top to bottom, left to
Ooh,
right, all around. So when I say he is able, y'all, no matter what you going through, no matter what it looked like, no matter what somebody want to tell you about yourself, somebody might be able to tell you something, but they better make sure daggone well that they got it from God first. And with that
I
being said, no sorry, Oakland.
let me know. Testify, okay? Because that's me. Oh my gosh, y'all! I told you, because baby, I could talk about God all night. Okay, I
Absolutely.
God has done so much. We just don't have enough space. If we had 10,000 tongues, we would not be able to say thank you enough. Okay.
Enough.
Oh my
Enough.
gosh, that is a powerful testimony. Yes, TC. Oh my goodness. Woo. Y'all, I have been blessed by this tonight. I thank you so much for being our special guest queen and just really sharing your testimonies and your words of encouragement and
Thank
just the
you.
advice and wisdom that you have
Absolutely.
shared with us tonight. It has been an honor to have you on our panel as one of our channel highlights. As you guys see in the chat, her link is in the chat. Thank you, Dreamy Girl. If you would like to subscribe, thank you. Those of you who have already subscribed. Yes, True said, yes, I love testimonies like this. Me too. Esco said, preach, Queen. Yes.
Period.
Oh my gosh. Let's make sure we subscribe and let's support. This is how we network and support each other. We all grow. What we make happen for others, God makes happen for us. I am a living witness to that. Queen, any other final words before we end for tonight?
I will say, because this is your house, so I'm gonna give it to God, and then I'm gonna bring it back to you for my closing. I can also say, y'all, just recently how much of a blessing Open has been to my life, because I ain't humble me hype for nothing. Like, I'm very humble, but y'all know I get turned up and I'm a little hype sometimes. So I recently had to reach out to Humble, and this is why I mean to Open in my humbleness, because I wanted to ask her something that I had went to God about, and like I said a little earlier, I get a little stubborn with God, and I'm like, well, God, why they not doing this like this? And don't let these airwaves confuse you. And Open, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There was somebody recently who I was led to reach out to on these airwaves, and they're in a situation that I was just recently in. And had somebody like ready, willing, still had that person ready, willing to help with resources to get them out of their situation, to be a blessing, kind of how, someone was a blessing to me. I thought I was extending that resource, and it took them a while to reach out. But when they did, it was kind of just like nonchalant, like, okay, yeah, boom, I'm good. And then within days, I saw them go live asking for money and doing certain things. And so before I jumped in, like, I thought about it before I jumped in them comments, like, well, I already hit you up in that, and made it about me. I reached out to Open, and I said, Open, I said, am I wrong for feeling this way? Like, why do people, do this? Like, there's somebody that want to help. And Open just gave me the advice that sometimes this is how people want to get it. Sometimes people want to get it by having other people give it to them, by being the pity story, by having somebody pretty much bow down to what your indiscretions are. So I will leave you tonight with, don't be an indiscretion. Be every bit of that powerful testimony and lack of what other people feel like you are worth in order to get the major blessing from God. And with that being said, I thank y'all for all the support. I just had some family to walk in, so I'm gonna go celebrate them. Open, I just appreciate you again. And for me, y'all, the thing is just about God. Like, he comes in so many forms. Like, y'all let him have y'all platforms, and just give him that thought. Even with just a thought, he will move mountains for you.
Amen. Oh, thank you so much, sis. And I'm praying for you and your family. And I just say, God bless you. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence tonight and being our guests.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I love y'all. I'm gonna go get with my guest that just arrived at my home. I love y'all.
Okay. Love you too, sis. Have a great night.
Alrighty, you too, Open baby. I love you. I get with you how they say open on the back
On
end.
the back end. I love you, girl.
I love you too, sis. Y'all have a good night.
You too. Oh my gosh, y'all, this has been awesome. It's always a blessing. Like, God uses the guests. We come on here to talk about channels, and we leave encouraged, we leave inspired, okay, with some advice and tips. Baby, God is not playing. Good evening, Miss Lisa. Thank you, those of you who said it was a great live. Thank y'all so much for being our guests. Thank you, Shelly Shell. Thanks and shout outs to all of the mods, Shelly Shell, Dreamy Girl, Lolo, Break Room 411, and Royal D. Shout out to y'all and thank y'all so much. Let's see if I'm missing any comments. Thank you, Miss Lisa. And thank everyone for participating and engaging tonight and sharing your hashtags. I want to say, and I'm glad that thank you, TC. I'm glad that Shelly Shell had posted this because I wanted to say happy early Mother's Day to all of the mothers. I may come on with a live on that day. I don't know yet. I'm still debating. It depends on what we're doing. My husband just realized that it was Mother's Day weekend. I said, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You got a wife and a mama. I'm just trying to understand how you didn't know. Okay. I love my husband. I be having a mess with him. I told y'all I'll probably be getting on his nerves, but he won't ever tell me that. Oh my gosh. And so I'll see if there's something planned or not. I don't know. Okay. But happy early Mother's Day to all of the mothers. Thank you so much, Ronitha. And I was looking for Miss Josephine. I don't know if she was on here, but I saw her post in another chat. But I wanted to tell her happy birthday, Miss Josephine Edmonds. Thank you so much for all of your support. If you watch the replay, because I know sometimes she'll come back and watch the replay, I want to tell her special happy birthday. She's always so supportive in the chat. And then, yes, Shelly, I love, um, and I love you all. Thank you, TC. Happy Mother's Day to you too, as well. Thank you, Miss Lisa. Yes, thank you so much for everyone joining tonight. Hope everyone has a blessed night. We're going to enjoy our Mother's Day weekend, however you see fit to enjoy it. Thank you so much, Donna. Continue to pray for us, sis. I just thank God. I truly thank God. But get rest, have fun, enjoy your family. If you are missing your mom, go with the wave, but also laugh, enjoy. Enjoy your children. Okay. I lost my mom, but I also am a mom. So I never want to take that away from my children. I want to feel my feelings of missing my mom, celebrate her, and I also want to enjoy. Because guess what, moms? We deserve it. Okay. Baby, we've been working our butts off, and we deserve every rose. Don't get me started, okay? Every rose, every dinner, every little card that we making at these schools, okay? Every pair of shoes, every hat, every clothes, every watch, every jewelry. We deserve it after doing all this cooking. Gotta go in here and bathe, put you together, get your homework done, fussing. Yeah, I deserve it. Y'all deserve it. Okay, don't get me started. So y'all better walk, y'all better rest, y'all better enjoy this weekend, baby, because y'all deserve it. Okay? Have a great night, Brittany. Yes, Shelly, you deserve it. Yes, Brittany, do you have children? I don't know if I've ever asked you that, Brittany. Yes, Miss Lisa. Y'all deserve it. Okay? All of the mothers on here deserve it. And I hope that you enjoy it. I love you, love you, love you. And I pray that you have a blessed evening. I'll see you all Saturday. Have a blessed day. Talk to you later. Bye bye.